Welcome back. We are live here in New York. Vince Thompson for a few more minutes. So, Vince, I want to just kind of get the lay of the land here from you on you're at this conference today where every important commissioner, president of the NCAA, every athletic director circling in and out, media, the most influential media who covers the game. What are the buzz conversations? What are people talking about when you get all these people in one room? And I've been there a couple of different times. Interviewed Commissioner Slav a couple of years ago. Interviewed Greg Sankey last year. I mean, this is where the rubber meets the road.
Greg Sankey's the leader in the clubhouse now, and I'll probably get a little grief for that. And I'm an outside observer. But from what I'm told, he's driving a lot of conversations in Congress. From what I'm told, obviously, it's well documented the CBS SEC deal is in play. It's going to go to the organization that is conquering the over-the-top or the streaming services. You saw what Adam Silver said. The cable model is dead. And you look at it in the NBA ratings. And so to Sankey's credit, he's going to get ahead of that OTT model. But if you look, Paul, you look at the health of the SEC, I say the flavor is coming back. You've got the aging king. You've got Gus. You've got Coach O right out of casting. And now you got Lane Kiffin there, who's in that job because some guy mimicked a dog peeing. And then you've got the East. You've got Kirby. You've got Muschamp. You've got Mullen. You've got Jeremy coming on. So I would say that Greg's timing is impeccable for the value of the SEC football property. Now, ironically, CBS had their highest rated season since 1990. That game we were at LSU, Alabama, more than 16 million people saw that game. And that was an afternoon game. In prime, it would have blown north of 20 million. So the conference is healthy. Their timing is healthy. Greg's emerging as a power player in Congress, which obviously is all good for us. I would suspect that he had to bless Lane Kiffin coming to Ole Miss, because I do know firsthand when Coach Saban brought Lane to Alabama, they had to make a trek to Birmingham.
They went hat in hand to see Mike Slive.
And if I were a betting man, that meeting took place again. But I saw your interview with Lane, and it looks like that, he's evolving his game, shall we say.
Well, listen, I mean, he is 44 years old.
Right.
He's grown up.
Right. Well, yeah, a little bit, right? But again, I think it's great for the sport. I mean, think about this now, and look at the West. I mean, you've got Coach O, you've got Nick, you've got Lane, you've got Gus, who's obviously got the upper hand on Nick right now. But I'll tell you a couple.
But may I add, spoken like a true Auburn graduate.
Well, I was going to say disclaimer, and we were there. It was an amazing, obviously amazing atmosphere. But I'll tell you a couple of things. I still will stay to the fact that I think Tua comes back next year, and I'm going to give you one more prediction today. Trevor Lawrence sits out next year.
That's an incredible statement.
What's he got to gain by coming back?
Well, especially if he wins, even if he doesn't, he is the number one pick.
So what's the upside unless he gets a $100 million insurance policy?
Which is tough.
And by the way, you could sit out, and then he could begin his marketing campaign already.
Sure.
So he's making money.
How? Okay, I mean, just let's talk about this for a second, because you have just dropped a bomb on us. If Trevor Lawrence sits out, what does that mean in terms of seminal moments in the game?
Well, it's going to set a new trend. But I mean, if you look at Tua,
and it is ridiculous for a guy that would be the first player taken in the draft, or the second, depending on the Trevor versus Joe Burrow debate, to have to come back and play another year when he could be earning money.
Well, that might be in play in Congress. I mean, how can you prevent a guy from earning a living based on his age if the NFL deems him ready to play? So Keep your eyes peeled for that one.
Oh, well, I mean, no. I mean, I think what you just said here is remarkably important. So, how does back to the SEC and the television contracts? I know a lot of people go, well, I mean, I get so many games on TV as it is. I mean, you got ESPN, you got prime time, you got the SEC, you got the noon game, you have the CBS game. Why is this CBS? And again, let me reference John Talty's article from a couple of weeks ago, which laid it all out very succinctly and effectively. Why is this so important, Vince?
Well, because Disney is going to own the over-the-top and streaming space. Disney Plus came out, 10 million plus subscribers. ESPN Plus already has 3.5 million subscribers. Unless a CBS or a Turner or a Fox or AT&T, who now owns Turner, is able to be that aggressive and that good, because it's not about you and me, Paul. It's about my son, Carter, who's 19 and doesn't consume any content on anything other than a mobile device.
And you know what's interesting, Vince, and through you, we had dinner last Friday night with your son and 3 of his friends. And I was just thinking to myself, what's he, 18 years old?
19.
At 19, what I wouldn't have given for a friend of one of my friends, a father of one of my friends, to take me on a Friday night to Chops in Buckhead. I was thrilled to be invited as just a schmo who happens to have a show. But, I mean, the idea that, and these guys, the point of this is not to talk about what we ate. The point of this is to talk about how every one of them made it clear to me and you, we do not watch television. We watch everything on our phone.
And that's like I said, and again, the other wild cards that we don't know about, Amazon, Netflix, Facebook,
Apple.
It struck me how much Tim knew. Obviously, we talked about that. And it struck me that all of the college football glitter eye and commissioners have made that trek out there. And he's taken those meetings because he knows that's his next generation of consumer. And we also know live sports is still the greatest last bastion of eyeballs in the country. But whoever wins the over-the-top race.
I mean, tell me if I'm wrong here, but major companies now are, and we're not talking about us here, or maybe we are, but this program is being disseminated on ESPN Radio, on Sirius XM, and on the SEC network, and obviously on other venues through your app. But there are those who believe that a Disney Plus, an ESPN Plus, a Amazon, Apple TV, whatever it is more valuable, not today, but moving forward in terms of the consumption of whatever next deal you're making, than what we're currently doing right now over the top.
Well, I mean, I'd tell you, like
I said,
and Adam Silver said it, the cable model, I mean, and by the way, the cable model originated in the 70s, so it's not like it hadn't had a 40 or 50-year run. But the media companies who are evolving are going to win that race. But here's the difference. If you're watching a game in your household, it's only rated by Nielsen.
Right.
If I'm watching it on ESPN Plus or another app or streaming service, they know everything about me.
Got it.
So the ability to sell that data back to major advertisers is invaluable. And, it's like I said, obviously you've got some big boys lining up. You've got CBS, Viacom, you've got Disney, ABC, ESPN, you've got Fox. And then our good friend who has started DAZN. So you're going to see a lot of competition, but Amazon and Facebook and Apple, I could see Apple as a late contender to a lot of these things. And by the way, in the next 3 to 5 years, the NFL is up, the PGA is up. So, but everybody's paying close attention to what's going on with the NBA ratings right now because that's a younger audience.
Yeah, no, Mark Cuban started that conversation saying that everything on the NBA is is on cable. Now, that's not exactly true. The finals are on ABC.
Right. Well, the other problem is the start times. All your stars are on the West Coast right now. So
So make a prediction, and I say this. No, for those of you who don't know, we work. ESPN is owned by Disney. We're not, we're just pawns in all this. But this deal is up in a couple of years. When will it be consummated?
I think before, probably in 21.
Okay.
It's particularly if it moves. I mean, that's a major thing. I mean, you think about CBS.
I guess the better question is, how big a story is it going to be?
Well, when you're getting used to getting $50 million a year and you get $500 million a year, and that adds a zero, and that adds an additional $40 to $50 million to each SEC athletic.
That more or less than Stephen A. Smith makes. I'm trying to remember.
Well, between you and him per hour. But it's not an accident. Here's the thing you got to look at macro-wise. It's not an accident, and I'm going to pick on the Alabamas and the Auburns and the Floridas and whoever else are building $50 to $80 to $100 million facilities. That's based on a come bet of what's going to happen.
How badly does this conference and its television partners need Nick Saban to keep coaching and keep coaching successfully? Well,
I would have answered that question a little differently, but I was thinking the other day. I mean, if you look at, obviously Nick Saban is still going to be about 20 to 40% of the value of that $500 million.
Are you serious?
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, you got the Cowboys, you got the Yankees, you got the Crimson Tide. There's very few brands, the Lakers, that carry a league. And I know Nick's been dinged and all that, but he did have some unfortunate injury circumstances this year. But I would foresee Nick, another 3 years. They got to get the stadium renovated. And then I could see him as your co-host on this show or some other show. I mean, if you can do it with Belichick, he can certainly do it with you.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Again, we're going to get back to the calls in a minute, but the headline of this conversation with Vince Thompson, Trevor Lawrence will sit out next year. Somebody just said on Twitter, that's not a hot take. That's like a smoking fajita through the window at your favorite restaurant.
Well, my question is, what is his upside for coming back next year?
I like it. I am all for young people flexing their muscle, and he has plenty.
Number one pick by far, and idol movie star looks, and so and if you look at the other guys coming out, he's a generational guy. He's like a Peyton. He's like a LeBron. And so unless he's able to get a $100 million insurance policy, which he won't, what's his upside, particularly if he can go out on top this year?
Well said. Vince Thompson, you must come back.
Thank you, Paul.
Hopefully see you in Atlanta in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
It's amazing.
We'll be there.
Somebody said to me, they said, well, I guess you'll be off for a while. I go, yeah.
Yeah, for a day or two, right?
Well, no, I mean, I did not realize as we were saying goodbye to New York today that we're in Atlanta 2 weeks from tomorrow.
That's right. Well, think about it. We were just in Birmingham at the end of July.
Yeah.
And think about how much is if you and I said in Birmingham in July and said Lane Kiffin's going to be the coach of the Ole Miss Rebels, they would have thrown both of us out of that hotel.
They're thinking about doing it anyway.
Well, they would still will.
We'll
probably
take a short break. Vince, thanks. Come back.
Thank you.
Vince Thompson joining us here in New York. Great conversation. Trevor Lawrence is on line one saying, what happened to my career?